Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the Formula Fun podcast. We are here wrapping up the Monaco Grand Prix 2018 and we've just about recovered from our slumber to bring you our opinions on that race. I'm joined as always by Rage himself. How are you doing this week, my friend?
Hello, I'm absolutely fabulous.
Fantastic. Jolly good.
Ruddy good.
Ruddy good indeed.
We've just had a lovely British bank holiday weekend. I've had 3 days off, and I've just eaten a big bowl of pasta. So I'm ready to do the shit out of this.
Great. That's the attitude I want on a podcast, ready to do the shit out of it. That's the attitude that's been missing, doing the shit out of it. Cool.
We're live, and we're ready. It's all fine to do the shit out of it.
Yep. Probably should move on from that.
Okay.
There's only so much times you can say doing the shit out of it before it starts getting irritating. So, yeah, Monaco Grand Prix. It was a very stereotypical Monaco Grand Prix. I don't know what anyone else expects at this point. You know, it's Monaco. Occasionally we get a crazy race, but more often than not, it's a pretty straightforward weekend. It's just more about the atmosphere and the sort of circumstance of it being the Monaco Grand Prix, in my opinion. But do you think it's a good one?
Now, you know my feelings on the Monaco Grand Prix. It's pretty much just a lap of honour, 76 times. But yes, it was, some cars went round and some other cars followed them. That's about it.
It's a big fan then. Big fan
Massive
of this race.
fan of Monaco. It is my favourite race of the year.
Great. Well, you'll have plenty to say then, I'm sure.
I have lots to say about this one.
Good. It's all fine.
It's all fine, mate.
Monaco Grand Prix, mate. It's all fine.
Fucking Jake Dennis.
Oh, let's not start that this early. Christ. I feel he needs to be sort of a drop in the ocean of the podcast now rather than become a regular theme.
Sorry, mate. It's a bit warm in here. I'm just removing my undergarments.
Right, that's completely unnecessary. Moving on to practice then, as we normally start.
Did cars go round and some quicker than others?
Yep, some crashed.
Some crashed.
One more.
There was a famous crash. Big name crash.
One
Big O crashes.
with much more consequence than the rest, which
Yes.
was Max Verstappen in practice 3. Red Bull on it all weekend, looked unstoppable, and then Max crashed into his favourite corner in the world.
He loves that corner.
He does.
Swimming pool, wasn't it?
Yep, I think it's his 3rd time into that barrier in 4 years. So, yeah, not brilliant. But he keeps up his 100% record.
He does.
Of
100% record of causing issues.
Of fucking up every race. Or doing something.
Well, at least he was a 100th away from his teammate. No, 1,000th away from his teammate before he crashed. That's something to take to the bank.
Well, that's the thing. He robbed us of what was gearing up to be one of the greatest qualifying sessions between two people that we really loved to watch go head to head, especially after Baku. And we were robbed of it because, of course, they couldn't get that car out in time for qualifying. Completely destroyed it. So, yeah, didn't exactly shower himself in glory. But Ricardo was looking ominous after practice. So, into qualifying then. We will start, as per usual, at the back of the grid. Obviously, Max Verstappen not qualifying, with the repairs being run to his car. Haas really struggled this weekend. Didn't show great pace round here. Can't really use the Ferrari engine round Monaco.
Apparently not.
So, yeah, they were struggling. K-Mag 19th, Stroll 18th, Ericsson 17th, and Hartley 16th. No real standout performers of the losers, is there?
Well, Brendan Hartley pretty much sucked arse. Apart from that, should have got into Q2.
Yeah, I mean, he was 2 tenths off his teammate.
2 tenths is a big old gap at Monaco.
Yeah, I guess so. But he shown great pace all weekend. He was very disappointed with that qualifying.
He was. I think he caught some traffic, he said.
Potentially, but he had plenty of chance. It's not as if it was that one be all and end all lap, was it? He just didn't
Gotta
didn't
crack
deal
out
with.
the excuses.
I didn't realise you were such a big Hartley fan.
I'm definitely not.
Yeah, well, don't make excuses for him then.
I shall not from now on.
Good. Moving on. Q2, Roman Grosjean just about sneaking the car through. Wouldn't have gone through if Verstappen had qualified, so lucky boy to get through to Q2, really. And Charles Leclerc once again doing a stellar job up there in P14 around his home turf. Sergei Sorokin, much improved for Williams up there in P13. Stoff in 12th. And Hulkenberg had a bit of a, I wouldn't say a nightmare, but he definitely didn't do as good as Carlos Sainz. And this was the first genuine out-qualifying from Carlos Sainz over Nico Hulkenberg this season. So, big one for the Spaniard.
Ooh, I picked Nico Hulkenberg to take over for my F1 league. Hello, darkness.
He got plenty of points.
Did he?
Yeah, because he went forward a lot. He's one of the only drivers that went forward, didn't he?
Did he, though?
Yeah, I think you got 32 points for him, so he didn't do
there
that
you
badly.
Absolutely smashed it out the park, boys!
Well, he could have done better, I guess. And you had him as your turbo driver, but we'll get to that later on, I'm sure.
We shall.
Pierre Gasly once again putting that Toro Rosso where it doesn't really belong, up in the top 10. He's fast, proving a star alongside Leclerc, isn't he?
Lots of media coverage from old what's Majiggy? Leclerc.
What, him at his home Grand Prix?
Yeah, and other stuff about his dad and Jules, and he was literally all over that shit.
What, the fact that they were all so close?
Well, his dad died a year ago or so.
Yeah.
Or Jules died, and then his dad died shortly after. But Jules has quite a big part in his learning, I think. Jules and their family opened up the doors for him to learn, driving, karting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was lots of points about, because obviously they're Monachian or whatever. He's from Monaco, so
Monegasque.
Whatever it is, Radagast, the brave. Yeah, that's where he is.
Radagast, the circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been a very difficult weekend for him, I'm sure. And yeah, nobody wishes that upon people. So he did well considering under the pressure, and as I'm sure he mentioned a few times in the weekend, it's a shame that Jules wasn't alongside him on the track, and that his dad obviously wasn't there to see him at his first Monaco Grand Prix in a Formula 1 car. But he's still out-qualified where that Sauber should be in 14th. And Gasly, a solid performance for that Toro Rosso. Perez and Carlos Sainz, Force India, much improved round here. And once again, Ocon showing the pace over his teammate. The two Spaniards, once again, I think they're always in 7th and 8th now. It's just their positions. I'd love to see those two in. I'd love to see the two Red Bull drivers and then those two in like a Mercedes.
Carlos dotes Fernando, doesn't he? He's good. He's a fan, isn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He inspired him to get into the sport.
Fellow Spaniard.
Yeah, and quite an age difference. So when Alonso went into sport, Carlos Sainz was a very young boy. Racing alongside one of his heroes, and both of them have really stepped up. Well, Alonso has been stepped up for a while, wasn't he? But Carlos Sainz really stepping up to the plate in terms of his fight against Nico. Ocon, incredible P6 to beat those two Spaniards in that Force India is pretty impressive. Then going into the Big Six, Big Five for this qualifying session. Bottas disappointing, really, all weekend.
Never really switched it on, did he?
No, didn't really seem to get the hang of this track, and considering how important grid position is, he was dead on arrival in 5th, really. Never looked like challenging. Kimi Räikkönen, I was disappointed with Kimi. This is his track normally. Of course, on pole here last year. And showed great pace all through the weekend. And then final, it's always Q3 with him this year. He can never quite string it together, can he?
It's almost like his, what's Majiggy? His what's the word?
I don't know.
Nemesis.
Right.
He can't quite do it, can he?
No. No matter how much pace he has through Q1 and Q2, he always seems to fluff it come Q3. So, a bit disappointing for him. Lewis Hamilton gave it everything, to be fair, in a Mercedes that has never been very compliant around Monaco. And this year, no more so. Then Sebastian Vettel pulling out, I would say, one of his best laps of the year to do that, to be fair. It was a great time to get within 2 tenths of Ricardo, who was just in a different league all weekend, wasn't he?
He came out to win, and that was it, didn't he?
Retribution, as he said, for 2016.
Retribution.
Well, you can see why he felt so robbed in 2016. It's been coming for a long time. This win at Monaco, he's got a touch like Webber did around this track, and he always shines around there. Not what it is with Aussies and Monaco. See something with the track that just suits them.
They love a bit of Monaco.
Yeah, big bowls.
A bigger bowl than a Monaco.
Bigger bowls around this track. Okay, man of qualifying for you.
Man of qualifying. That's a sentence.
That's a sentence. It's better than the thingy, would you just a stuttery man.
I would say Nando, because he not only got it into the top qualifying, the third Q3. Jesus! Not only did he get it into Q3, he also got it up to 7th, which is way higher than his teammate. So just on that, obviously, because there are others who did really well, and there was a lap record by Daniel Ricciardo. But I think Alonso's performance was very good.
I'd have to go with Ocon. Stunning to be at the head of the midfield round here and really cements his talent, much like Gasly. France have got a lot of good talent coming through.
Well, some good talent coming through.
But Gasly and Ocon, yeah, they've got.
Well,
some
I was
great
thinking
talent.
more Grosjean. So
how is that talent coming through? He's been here for like 7 years.
There's a mark on the talent coming through.
No, the talent that came through previously for France was shit, but now it's looking pretty peachy. And with we return to France in a month's time, so it'd be interesting to see the reception for them there and see how they get on.
The Frenchies are well represented, and who would have thought it, eh? F1 being well represented by Frenchies.
I know, it's a travesty, really, isn't it?
Well, half of the F1 is French, but apart from that, yes.
Well, yeah. I don't think that they decide who comes in.
Yeah,
particularly.
Yeah, why not?
Sure. Let's add another conspiracy theory in there, why not? There's not enough of them in Formula 1. Right, well, let's get into the race, shall we? I've been holding it off as long as possible because not much happened. But we know this is what Monaco is like. So Vettel gave it a good go off the line, couldn't find a way past. And they were all very well behaved in Monaco.
No scrappiness. It was all prim and proper, as they would say.
Yeah, they even the young blood now coming through understand that Monaco, you just got to stay in it. The problem is if everyone has that mindset of staying in it, then nobody ever drops out. So,
nothing happens.
You don't get that benefit, yeah.
You need a bit of crazy, otherwise nothing happens.
Exactly. But, all very well behaved, and Ricardo just about beating Vettel off the line. I think they all basically got away in order, didn't they? Top 5.
Pretty much.
No great changes. Verstappen took both Hasses on the pit straight.
Double Haas over Haas.
Well, they're fighting between themselves once again. A little bit of melee contact between them. And yeah, that was about it, really, wasn't it?
To the end, mate. That was it.
See you later, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
Formula 1 podcast. You can.
Well, what was the first thing? The first sign of any problems? They say it creeped in at about lap 18.
Yeah, so I think the loss of power message was, maybe 18, 20, just after his pit stop. So we are,
Yes.
of course, talking about Daniel Ricciardo. So what happened was a total and catastrophic failure of all of his electrical energy systems. Fuck.
Lovely.
As if this man couldn't have had any worse luck at this circuit. He gets that message. And then shortly followed by, can it be fixed? Nah. It's not going to get better. His heart must have sunk. And I think everybody thought, here we go again. But especially when Vettel gained 4 or 5 seconds in a couple of laps, that really showed you the pace difference in losing that system even round Monaco. But as everyone said, if there's one circuit you want it to happen, it is round Monaco. So what it meant was he effectively couldn't get out of sixth gear because there wasn't enough energy power, and it wasn't enough electrical power to add the extra speed needed to use 7th and 8th. So he was driving 6 gears for the whole rest of the race. And he proceeded to cause quite the chain. Dun 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 dun. I thought you would do that one. No. Okay. Let's move on. So Vettel caught him, and then Hamilton, Moany Hamilton, we'll get to that in a minute, then Raikkonen and then Bottas all cruised up to the back of him. And with about 25, 30 laps to go, with everyone nursing their tyres, because no one wanted to make an extra stop, we had the top 5 in the same straight.
Yeah.
Would be unbelievably exciting anywhere else. But Monaco, you kind of think, it doesn't really matter that they're all line of stern because they're not going to overtake each other. And so it proved.
Not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah. So Hamilton got very moany, very pessimistic about his tyres.
Anything new about that?
No, well, I really struggle to understand his motives sometimes. When you can see that he's catching Vettel so quickly. He was out of sight of him for most of the first half of the race, and then all of a sudden he's right up the back of Vettel, and he can see the leader, and he's still complaining. Some part of him must understand the situation.
Do you know why he was complaining? It's just because other people might not necessarily know why. So, I'm assuming you do, but anyway, I'll explain. So at the beginning, well, there was a slight difference between what happened with both cars. So I think Bottas was on the setup that Hamilton wanted to be on.
What, the super softs?
Yeah, he wanted to be on the red Bull tyres when he came in, but they put him on. Is it the purples? I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, they put him on the ultra softs.
They put him on the purples, so he came out in the hypers, and he wanted to be on the reds because he thought that they would last longer and he wouldn't have the graining that he had later on in the race. So the whole time, Hamilton knew, and probably knew this before he went into the race, that if he was in front, they probably said, if you're in front, you're going to go with whatever the top guys are doing because we don't want to take a risk round here or whatever, I don't know. So they put him on that strategy where he knew he had to go for the hypers, and then after that, he got to go on the ultras instead of the supers. Bottas, on the other hand, was on hyper to super, so he had the setup that Hamilton wanted. So Hamilton halfway through saying, "Oh, I'm graining. We should have gone on the other tires." Blah 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 blah. Even though engineer was coming over and saying, "Everyone's in the same boat as you, Hamilton. Just get your head down." He continued to moan the whole way through. But do you think that he's got a right to moan about that? Because if he said, "Look, I want to go on this tire. This is going to be the best tire here. This is the best tire that we've had around practice. This is the best tire that we've shown. This is the quicker tire around here. We know that if we can get a tire here that can last, we won't have to, sit back. We would maybe be able to push in certain places." Do you think he's it's to his detriment to moan, or what's your opinion? Knowing obviously now what the different, the problem was.
Yeah, you're absolutely right with that, and he decided way before this was something from practice that they'd found and thought that they should go on the super softs. I think in terms of the strategy of them going onto it, I don't know that it would have helped, but it was worth a go from where they were, so I can see why. The point is, once he's got them on, forget about it. You're a racing driver. They're the tyres you're on. You're at Monaco. You know you're going to go to the end. He knows deep in his heart that there's no point stopping at that point to put on another set of tyres. No point at all if everybody else is doing the same thing. So why continue to moan about it? You talk about it afterwards. You don't spend however long it was, like half an hour, moaning over the radio as to why he's on those tyres that they're not going to last. He knows everybody can hear it, whether that's the point. Maybe he knows that he just wants to make it clear that he thought they should be on a different strategy and make sure that we don't miss that by constantly repeating it. But that's my issue with it, is just he's not an idiot. He knows exactly what the situation is once he's got them on. So why continue to talk about it? But I think it might have been worth a go. Sure. Because the tyres were really struggling at the end for Vettel, Hamilton and Raikkonen, and Ricardo was absolutely fine on his, but that's probably because he was driving so slow for the middle part of the race. So I don't know. It's just the moaning that gets to everybody. You know, maybe it was the right strategy, but...
Do you think, though, that a lot of these drivers, you know, whether we see it as moaning or, you know, because he's in the top team, he's getting a lot of the spotlight put on him. Do you think this is coming from a lot of other drivers as well, but it's not getting airtime? Because it's Lewis, it gets the airtime.
Possibly.
But if this was coming from, say, like, you know, Grosjean or whatever, would that get the airtime? I don't know.
I mean, I hear an awful lot of Grosjean moaning, so it generally does. But I know what you mean. It's probably because he might have been the only... I just can't imagine Vettel sitting there moaning constantly about his tyres. Or Kimi, he just gets on with the job. Valtteri just gets on the job. Ricardo was in the leaver zone anyway, but he very rarely moans. Potentially, drivers lower down might have been doing a lot of moaning about it, but the point is the guys up the top know exactly what situation they're in. And I think it was as much to let people know. Or it's because, as he said, he was so bored. Maybe he just wanted something to do to take his mind off the crap race. But that's just my point, is that he's smart enough to know that once he's put those tyres on, they're not going to stop him again. So just get on with it. But hey, it's all part and parcel of Hamilton, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
it's very frustrating, you know, because there's only so many times you can sit there and defend the guy. When he keeps on coming back and saying these things, you know, there comes a time where you just think, you know, they put that tyre on for a reason. I reckon he wanted that red tyre and he asked them to put on that red tyre and they put on the other tyre. Nothing he can do. He's in the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not going to get out. No, actually, I'm going to put these on.
This is the tyre you're having. Get on with it. This is what you're doing.
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand with the way Mercedes have always done strategy in comparison to other teams. And they're very set in their ways as to what is the right way to do it, and don't take driver suggestions.
News just in, people. Hamilton moaned about something that didn't go his way.
But he wants to thank Monaco for having the best fans in the world. So it's all right.
They've got some fans, but apparently so did the last race and maybe the race before. But Monaco...
I mean, they've all got the best fans.
They've all got those fans, bro.
Thank you to all the fans. I saw a British flag somewhere. So thank you to you guys. The rest of you can fuck off.
Yeah.
But those guys, cheers, guys. Yeah, I mean, it is about Hamilton. At the end of the day, he's still leading the World Championship, going away from probably a couple of their weakest tracks in Baku and Monaco. So, you know, at the end of the day, they've got a great chance in Canada to push on and extend his lead. So, for all his moaning and all his problems this year that have seemed apparent, he's still leading the World Championship.
I know.
It normally is the other way with Hamilton. When things start falling apart or he's not racing well and he's moaning a lot, he doesn't do well. But he's still winning the World Championship. So you can't really argue with that at the moment.
Hashtag blessed.
And just wait till he gets his summer break, which he always comes back from with a massive bang. So Vettel needs to capitalise
after a massive bang, or comes back with a bang?
Comes back with a massive bang.
Oh, okay. So I didn't quite hear what you said.
After a massive... It has a big old... Yeah, let's not go there.
Well,
So,
enough from Moni Hamilton. Let's on to the next one.
yeah, let's talk about the main man himself then, Daniel Ricciardo. How great do you think that drive was, considering his issues?
That was up there with. I know people are like, oh, Michael Schumacher, 95. Oh, you can't compare that drive to another drive.
No,
it
plus
was a stunning drive.
Schumacher's was next level, I'm afraid, in comparison. But it was still a staggering drive.
People were saying, oh, but again, it's Monaco.
The main person that was saying that was Christian Horner, who just wants to keep him.
Yeah, I think it was a good drive. It's up there with one of the best drives around Monaco. Not the best, but it was again still a very good drive. But yeah, no, I thought it was very well handled. Pressure was handled amazingly. He went out from day one with one goal, and that was it. And he wasn't taking no for an answer. He would have got out and he would have pushed that car with his teeth if he had to.
Yeah, and that still would have gone pretty far.
It would have
on
still
those
beaten all of them.
Yeah, I think it was a special. It would have been a special victory regardless. I think to see someone just absolutely destroy Monaco the way he did this weekend is always special. I think the fact that he had to do a bit of adversary in the race adds to it, but I think the main plaudits from this weekend just have to go to the way he drove the whole weekend. He just dominated the race. I even think with Verstappen there, he would have just destroyed him in the race. He was just so fired up and so in the zone. You just got to look at his lap time. He set that 1 minute 15 with the engine problems.
Really?
Yeah.
Fair.
Because they were on full tanks of fuel near the beginning. That was quite a late race time.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you can see from Verstappen's pace how much pace Red Bull had. 14.2. I know he was on much fresh tyres, but there's a lot of pace left in that car that Ricardo wasn't able to use. But, yeah, still, he did an incredible job, and he was going to win that from day one, wasn't he? He wasn't going to let anybody stop him this weekend. And he's right back in the title fight. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Red Bull can find a bit more pace. Those top three finishers, Ricardo, Vettel and Hamilton, all have 2 wins apiece, all with 3 different manufacturers. So it's not quite there, but it's getting towards the season I hoped it would be between those 3 teams. And we'll have to wait and see how that develops and whether Red Bull have got the pace in Canada to at least compete. Going out of the top 5 then, because I think the other 4 weren't really noteworthy. Vettel did a good job, but I mean he was just following it. They were all just parading round, weren't they, as you said? Those 5. Ocon, incredible, P6. The race time doesn't flatter him because he was a lot further ahead. He actually had a brake-by-wire issue.
Apparently so. I heard about this yesterday.
Well, he suddenly lost. He was like a second behind. He well, it's kind of the pace that Ricardo was going as well, but he closed a 14-second gap to Bottas to within a second at one point, and then had a brake-by-wire issue, which backs him into Gasly and Hulkenberg and Verstappen. But yeah, incredible weekend from the Frenchman, considering his age. Utter composure around that track. And some great points for Force India. And
5th and 6th from the French teams. The Team
French boys.
Team Francais.
Yeah. I wonder if they should get those 2 in a Renault in a few years' time when it's a bit more competitive.
Yeah, the Renault's it's gonna only go from strength to strength. I hope they just don't dish out Nico because #blessed.
Yeah, he'll stay there for a couple more years. I've always said I think it didn't really, but I'll go with it. It's late on a Tuesday evening. You can say what you want, mate. I've always said all along I think Hulkenberg's going to be incredibly unlucky and get booted out a year or 2 before they hit it big.
It's all fine, Hulkenberg. Don't worry, it's all fine. There's only a clause in your contract, but it's all fine.
Yeah, it's all fine.
It's all fine.
Just stupidly tall that nobody wants you. It's all
Building a
fine.
car around someone else who's French, but don't worry, it's all fine.
It's all fine. You've just sent me a video of Scott. I did see this on Channel 4.
I'm just watching it now.
Coulthard
Oh,
drifting
burn!
into Sky.
So pretty much Steve Jones asked DC, it was like the commentary almost put the man to sleep, DC. And DC turns around and goes, I think he was listening to Sky, actually. Zing!
Yeah, I mean, say what you want, DC. I'm afraid they'll be the only coverage next year, but it's, yeah. But yeah, it was a bit of a buzzing. Oh, no, I'm not going to use that phrase. Right.
Did Will Power win the Indy 500?
He did.
I had no idea. Well done.
Congratulations, Will Power.
Legend. That's fucking awesome. Aussie weekend.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
I had no idea. But apparently he's a Kiwi.
I've no idea. I've heard him in India.
Oh no, he's not.
American
He's not.
circuit.
He's Australian.
He's Australian. I've heard the name and seen him in India. I just don't know much about him.
Who, Will Power?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about. I know the name. I think.
Oh wow, he
Who am I thinking
he
of?
competed in A1 Grand Prix. God, I missed that series.
Mark Webber's missus manages Will Power, or used to.
Okay.
Bit of useless information. Mark Webber is actually married to a racing driver promoter, and she's about 20 years his older. Let that sink in.
Right.
I
Because
know.
people of different ages never get married.
I know, but she was 20 and he was a baby. Mm.
Yeah, but not when they were married, I hope.
Yeah, I know.
That is newsworthy. Yeah, can we just have a shout out to A1 Grand Prix? I used to love that series.
I never watched it at all.
I wish they had have continued that and it had have made a bit more. It's basically the World Cup for motorsport.
Oh.
So they were Formula cars,
Mm.
and you had two drivers representing each country,
Mm.
and then it was just basically Formula One races, but with standard cars. They were all Ferraris, I think.
Cash.
And
Was there no development allowed on each car?
not that I'm aware of. I don't know. I only watched a bit of it, to be fair, but I would like to see. I'd like to see that kind of series, but like 2 or 3 races a year with the F1 drivers, or like anybody can enter, and they just like all have Mercedes. I think that'd be awesome. Anyway, yeah, moving on from that. How do we get? One thing I didn't think I'd be talking about today is A1 Grand Prix. Right. Yeah, Gasly P7 was a stunning strategy from Gasly. Everybody pitted very early, and Gasly just stayed out, pounded round and round and round.
Pounded the shit out of those tyres.
He did, and he just got quicker and quicker. It was astounding, really, and he jumped 3 places when he came back out of the pits and was hustling Ocon for the rest of the race. And he was, yeah, incredible performance from him once again. And if China, was it China? His good result?
No idea.
I want to say it was China.
I don't F1.
No, apparently you don't.
Do we even F1? Is this a thing?
Was it China or was it Bahrain?
Quality content, people.
Yeah. It was Bahrain, wasn't it? P4 from him. But yeah, sort of showing that wasn't a fluke. And was a real big performance from him. Nico Hülkenberg made some great progress doing a similar strategy. I think he stopped quite late and managed to come back out ahead of a few cars in P8. Verstappen was the only real reason that the race had any genuine excitement. I think he played quite a mature race.
Yeah, he made some quite nice moves. going through the field.
Yeah, he made some good progress, some good moves into turn 1, and then he had a few laps of altercation with Carlos Sainz coming out of the tunnel down to the chicane. First one, Carlos Sainz cut the corner, didn't give the place back, and then the next lap, Verstappen made quite a valiant effort to stay on the track, to be fair.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think it was genuine.
Yeah, he just cut back across the curb and gave Sainz nowhere to go and said, "I'll carry on."
Yeah,
I made the corner, mate. It's all fine. I made the corner. So yeah, it was an unspectacular but probably a much needed 9th place for Verstappen. In terms of the comeback drive and the way he went about his business, showed a bit of maturity. Hopefully he can shine in Canada. Carlos Sainz had a bit of a bad race, to be fair, and ended up behind Hülkenberg in P10. Ericsson, pretty great performance from him, and just short of the points.
Summed up his career, really.
Yeah, okay. Great. I mean, he beat home Perez and Magnussen. It's not too bad, is it?
Well, those are the guys you want to beat.
Right. What is your problem with giving people any kind of credit outside the top 10?
I just don't like Marcus Ericsson.
No, apparently not.
All the others are fine.
Such a problem with him, it's unbelievable.
Can you imagine, like, if I ever meet a Formula 1 driver, it's Marcus Ericsson. Oh.
I hope in a couple of years' time we've got a few 100,000 subscribers and he's still there in F1. And we go to a Grand Prix and he's the only interview we can get. You just instantly piss him off and we're never allowed back ever again. Yeah, a fairly good result from him. Perez and Magnussen in 11th and 12th. 12th and 13th. Stoffel Van Dorn, another miserable race, to be fair, from him. Grosjean in 15th. Sorokin both Williams had a terrible race. I think Stroll got 2 punches.
Absolute mare.
He did. Well, to be fair, it was his team's fault.
It was. The tyre issue, didn't it? Tyre nut issue coming onto the grid.
So the wheels weren't on at the 3-minute signal. So he
got no fucking wheels on his buggy.
Well, he had 3, but that's not good enough.
It's not.
Not unless you race with them, and that's a pretty bold thing to do just to prove a point.
Nando could have done it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Nando would have won if he was on 3 wheels.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Stroll got 2 punches during that race, both on the front left. So yeah, not the best race for Williams, to be fair. And then we come to the retirees. Alonso, gearbox failure. Pretty unlucky for him. His first non-points finish of the year. And it's not going to do his and McLaren's or his and Renault's relationship any good, is it?
Really?
I think they might have had more mechanical issues this year than Honda. Renault.
Do you think he parked it? Or was it genuinely a rattle, he's got bees in his gearbox?
Did you not hear the onboard?
I didn't, no.
That was bees in.
He had many bees.
That was bees on honey day. Yeah, that was... I did start to think when he came over the radio and sort of say, I'm slowing down. Oh, I can't keep ahead of these guys. And then it cut to him on the main straight and he was literally a bag full of neutrals and it banging about all over the place. So yeah, that was genuine.
Bees!
And then probably what most people will remember the race for, people always remember the crashes.
Yes.
Leclerc and Hartley. Brake failure. I love the comment that people started making after that. Leclerc's so good he even crashes well.
Yeah. He knew exactly where to put the car in the Armco to avoid the crash.
Yeah.
No, he just crashed like anyone would to minimise the damage. People have a real hard-on for Charles Leclerc at the moment. He is good, but there's a bit of a... They've got a bit of a thing for Charles.
Well, I think he's a genuine superstar.
Yeah,
I think he will be,
so.
like Verstappen.
The media's got a bit of a... Gets a bit moist for
Well,
Charles.
you don't watch Formula 2.
Well, I heard about him. I knew he was slaying.
What he did last year was pretty astounding, considering they all have the same car. He just no, I've not seen anyone destroy a Formula 2 field like that before. It was pretty special. So we'll see. And he's starting to prove himself now. I mean, this wasn't his fault, to be fair. It's brake failure. You can see one wheel was locked up and the other was rotating freely, so it's definitely a brake failure. And the unfortunate man was the Kiwi himself, Brendan Hartley, who was, to be fair, having a quite a good race. He wasn't going to get any points out of it. But he was going around in 11th, having a pretty good race, and his was ruined by that. And that's your lot, really. Ricardo takes a spectacular win. Vettel closes the gap at the top. I mean, if we go over to the tables. So it's now just
what tables do you use?
What tables
BBC?
do I use?
Use the old BBC.
Yeah, I mean, the tables are all the same. So
Okay,
it doesn't really matter. I don't see your... Explain your line of questioning on this one.
I was just asking. Oh, something popped up on my thingy.
I know, Monaco race tomorrow. I was going to tell you about it afterwards.
Monaco race tomorrow?
Thursday even.
I've got one for Spa.
Oh, have they changed? They said it was going to be Monaco.
F1 test race, Spa-Francorchamps.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, they said it was going to be Monaco. They've obviously changed their mind.
Changed their mind. When is it?
Thursday.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Moving
slightly derailing.
Yeah, carry on.
And I don't really
It's
want
all
to...
fine.
It's all fine, mate. I'm not going to explain anything. It's all fine.
It's all
fine. 14 points now between Vettel and Hamilton. So still all to play for. Ricardo getting himself back in it. I still feel Red Bull are going to need a big change in car performance on certain tracks to continue that challenge. But he's got a chance, you know. You don't take 2 wins in a season without doing something special, especially when all the other drivers that are ahead of you have got 2 as well.
That's all fine. He will probably... He is in the hunt now, so 3 away. It's a threesome.
And as I say, it all depends on Red Bull. If they can find that little bit of extra pace in qualifying, then they stand a chance.
Yeah.
And Ricardo is just on top form this year.
He is.
And I don't know how many more years he'll have in that kind of form. So he might have to take this opportunity. We'll have to wait and see. As for the constructors, Mercedes and Ferrari still pretty close. I think Ferrari actually closed the gap a little bit more. Red Bull, obviously Azerbaijan hurt them massively. They'll need Verstappen to come back very strongly if they're to get challenge for the constructors. Renault finally move above McLaren, or move further ahead, sorry. There's now 6 points between the pair of them. Force India now have jumped all the way up to 6th. I think they've gone from 8th to 6th in one race. Jumping Toro Rosso and Haas. Haas not really making the most of their good start. And now looks like locks in a battle with Toro Rosso maybe. Williams still at the bottom. Does that, before we move on to the other little bits of the show, does it sadden you, Williams, at the moment?
Nah.
No? Okay. You really are just a twat, aren't you? You don't like anything. Fucking Ericsson is a prick, mate. Williams, I don't care.
Why? Yeah, they're English, and yeah, they've been there for a while, but so have some others. What about Benetton?
I mean, what about Benetton? How is that a comparison?
So many, teams come and go. They're not going anywhere for now. They'll be all right.
Teams come and go. Yeah.
Come and go.
I'm not even going to start this argument with you.
They come and go, mate. Come and go. Look, Frank's standing up. It's all fine.
Right. Okay.
He's in his stand-up seat. It's all good.
Moving on.
The amount of bullshit coming out of the camp saying, we can't sustain this. We need more even spread of money. But you're in the wrong job, love. Like, this is a man's work. No. What I'm trying to say is they moan about they don't have the money to keep up and they don't have the money to compete. Well, don't then.
That's not the attitude at all for Formula 1.
I just don't. I don't have alliances with teams. I never have done really.
It's not that I have an alliance with them. It's just that it's sad to see them struggling the way they are. Considering their history, that's all I meant.
I know what you mean. It doesn't bother me so much.
I didn't expect you to attack them, that's for sure.
I wasn't attacking them.
You were.
I didn't attack
That was
them.
a scathing attack on Claire Williams.
Fucking scathe attack with my penis.
Right. Please move on. So, we finished the wrap up, so what does that mean?
I have no idea. I've just got lost in that last comment.
It's time for...
I bet she's an absolute firecracker in the bedroom.
No, that's not what it's time for. That's a very weird new section.
What Claire Williams wears to bed section.
I was just randomly naming a woman that's... Bet she's a firecracker in the bedroom section. This week, Claire Williams. God's sake.
She loves to be in trouble, mate. She loves it.
Stop.
Sorry. Moving on. The crash of the week, innit?
Yeah.
Crash of the week.
Go on.
Crash of the week, mate. Well, as you know, I put a lot of time, effort, and thought into Crash of the Week.
If this isn't a crash this week, I am gonna fucking lose it with you.
Well, yeah, but
You've been a nightmare this entire podcast. Please get something right. Please get something right.
Have I ever disappointed when it comes to Crash of the Week? I don't think so. I think I'm always in there with the crashes. The crashes are normally of such brilliant quality. Oh, I hit my microphone. I'm definitely not searching for crashes now. I've never been one to think, I'm going to look for crashes because I can't find any at the time. I always try and make sure it's definitely relevant to Formula One. That's the main thing. Jesus Christ, this Indy 500 was a bit boring this year, wasn't it? I can't find any crashes.
Will you please just name a crash?
I can't find any good ones, mate. Indy 500 didn't have any spectacular ones.
What the fuck has that got to do with it?
Well, it's become a bit of a meme, isn't it? It's Crash of the Week. For the past 3 weeks, I haven't found an F1 crash. So I was going to just
there's only one that wasn't an F1 crash. The other two were in F1 but weren't crashes.
Oh, okay.
They were spins.
there was slight spins. Oh, it's got to be Max in it in P3, practice 3, wherever it was, FP3, because it's just a carbon copy of what happened the year before. Sorry.
Congratulations.
That's the only one.
That is a crash. Yes.
That was a crash. But yeah, it something happened. I thought his front wishbone crazy went all furry and such. Did you notice when he had a crash?
It's the tethers. They're made up of fibers. So.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
They're like
the fibers went everywhere.
I don't know what they are, mate. It's like cashmere or something.
Oh.
Probably not.
Is that what Claire Williams wears to bed?
I couldn't possibly comment, mate.
Mrs. Williams, your cashmere underpants are ready.
Secrets. That would be horrible. Cashmere underpants.
Cashmere is quite soft, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's also quite woolly.
Yeah.
Would you wear woolen pants?
Down there, mate. She likes to get a bit warm. No one wants a cold undercarriage, mate.
Oh, what's going on? What is this?
What is life?
What is this anymore?
Okay, well, moving on. Crash of the Week was Max going into a wall
and it was brought to you by...
some cream that comes out of a can somewhere, mate. I've given up a whack nowadays. Crash of the Week brought to you by cream that comes in a solid metal container. Watch out, because it can contain bees. Good enough? That's what the sponsors want, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apparently a couple of bees got into the batch last week in Mexico, and hell's broken loose. Pablo's been on the blower. He's like, hey! The bees, they may come into cream again. Watch out. You tell the fans the cream could be contaminated with a bee. So as long as we tell the people that could possibly be bees in there. Make sure you got your little EpiPens just in case you go into any anaphylactics. We don't want none of those antics. I've told you now, illegal obligation. It's out of the way. Just if you are allergic to bees, maybe just keep off the cream can for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. May contain bees.
Cream can in small print. May contain bees.
And we just change it for another inanimate object or being after every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's like a joke on a penguin. May contain cashew nuts.
May contain left tentacle of an octopus. It's all fine.
May contain Boris Johnson's chest hair.
Oh!
Right.
What about you?
What do you mean,
Crash.
what about me?
No, what was the crash?
Oh. I guess I'd probably give it to Leclerc.
Leclerc?
And Hartley.
Were you disappointed that there wasn't a safety car?
Not really, because at the end of the day, it was so close to the end of the race, they'd thrown a safety car, they never would have got going again. So at least we got a few more laps racing. I was disappointed there wasn't a safety car in the race.
Yeah.
Full stop. I think it always brings a little bit of drama to Monaco, and you're almost guaranteed one at Monaco, and we didn't have one, which was a bit of a shame. I think that's why it was even more of a more boring race than usual, and why people think it was such a snooze fest, because you didn't have at least that one moment of madness that would bring out the safety car and maybe change the race around a bit. So I was a bit disappointed we didn't have one, but for that instant it wouldn't have made much difference, to be honest. Okay. Right, let's move on to a brief bit of news, and then I think we should wrap it up for this week.
Any news? What news we got?
Not much. I mean, there's more talk about the cost cap that might be coming in for 2021. Liberty Media wants to make it 112 million a year. I mean, how are they going to enforce that? And is that really just going to suddenly make everything more competitive? Probably not. Verstappen being told he needs to change his approach after Monaco.
Yeah, I heard about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's become, as we would say in the IT business, it's escalated from an incident to a problem. It's happened too many times to just be an incident. It's now a problem. So yeah, he needs to really knuckle down and start showing that he can get through this, because it's with Ricardo on such high form, it's really hurting Red Bull in the constructors as well. So hopefully he can turn that around at some point.
Did you see after the race, Hamilton in the press conference? He said, "Oh, you got to jump in a pool. You should do a belly flop." And he had to explain to Danny Ricardo what a belly flop was. And he was like, everyone does back flips and everyone does front flips and everyone jumps in. Why don't you do a belly flop? And then Danny Ricardo went out and did a belly flop.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I reckon Lewis had a little chuckle after that. Well, that stupid fucking Australian actually did a belly flop.
Yeah, next time. Well, what we do is we do the dry dive in the UK. You drain the pool, go in head first.
It's all fine.
It's all fine, mate. Jump in a pool, no water. It's all fine.
Claire Williams is just like sprawled on the bottom.
Okay. I don't know what this is now. Why has this become a thing? Please no. A lot of debate, of course, after Monaco about why it was such a boring race and whether things need to be changed on the circuit.
Look, this argument really pisses me off.
Even though you've been an advocate for it not being on the calendar anymore. Go on. I want to hear this. Let's all sit back and watch Ray dig a hole, shall we?
Right, this one, it's on the calendar for political reasons. Money and historical reasons. It's the only reason it's on the calendar, right? I think everyone knows that. It has to be on the calendar. However...
Correct.
Yeah. So, however, saying that, oh, it's a boring race. Oh, I need to change the layout. Oh, it was boring. Oh, I didn't enjoy it. But you're watching Formula 1. Cars go round in circles, change a bit of direction, go around in some more circles about 60 to 70 times. There's quite a bit of repetition there. Like if you think you want constant excitement, you're in the wrong sport. Maybe you should try a little bit of handball. Maybe something also rather fast paced.
Do you have adequate knowledge to recommend handball as an
No.
alternative? No, nor do I.
No. Ping pong. Ping pong's pretty fast. Tennis is pretty good at points. You're watching the wrong sport.
Yeah, you just have to know in Formula 1 what the sport is about, and that only comes with age, I want to say, but with the time of watching it. You either love it or you don't. If you really love Formula 1, you know that it's part and parcel of it, and you enjoy all the aspects no matter what. What I've always said about Monaco is there's nothing quite like in the calendar just sitting down and watching the Monaco Grand Prix on a Sunday.
I get that.
Yeah,
I do.
It's such a spectacle, even if they are just going around in circles, especially this year with them being so fast. I know they were slow this year, comparatively, but they still broke the track record again, even in the race. It's extreme skill these guys are doing, and it's just, yes, it is political and historical, but that is Formula 1. It's political, it is historical, and I kind of at a wider point of Formula 1, with all these trying to make the cars level and the cost caps and trying to take the politics out of it, there's a part of me that thinks Formula 1 would be lost if it wasn't for this political element. That is part and parcel of it. That is part of the circus of Formula 1 that we all actually, I think, secretly love. So yeah, it's the Monaco Grand Prix. If you don't know what to expect by now, everyone just thinks because they see it's a tight street track and they see big accidents occasionally that it's just going to be a crash fest. But these guys have been paid a huge amount of money to score points for their team. They're not just going to throw it all away like they're an F2 driver. Although the F2 race was very calm this weekend as well.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah. Right, is there any more news? Bottas needs understanding. Yeah, Hamilton wants a new format for Monaco. Of course he does. There was a bit of noise before the weekend, and it sort of carried on through it of Ferrari and how they're using their ERS systems. They're apparently exceeding the charge, maximum output charge available, but they can't prove it. Here's everyone else's word.
Wow.
Whether it's true, we'll have to wait and see if it comes to light, but would explain maybe the big jump in Ferrari performance this year in terms of straight line speed. But
what they've got some super batteries going on.
Yeah, well, just they're fiddling away to get a higher maximum output somehow.
Cheeky extra volts, mate. Couple of extra kilowatts.
Cheeky. Maybe a software system that when the FIA look at it covers it all up. Nothing to see here, mate. It's all fine.
There's definitely not a traction control mode built in somewhere. It's all fine.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not one of those sneaky Benetton traction control modes snuck in, but no one knows. I might have accidentally left the file name traction control, but it's all fine.
It's all fine, mate. That's not traction control.
It's all fine.
TC, no, that's the termite control system. We have terrible problems, especially when we go to the outback.
It's all fine.
It's all fine. Termites in your engine, mate. It's all fine. Right, I'm kind of scrambling for.
We need to do
here.
league. League
Let's wrap it up with a bit of fancy league
and predictions.
Oh yeah, did we do them last week?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I think you predicted Danny Rick.
Wouldn't surprise me. I haven't heard from Fox yet, who is keeping a spreadsheet of our predictions. So we'll have to wait and see. Right, so you remain top of the championship in our fantasy league. If you do want to see our fantasy league, you can go check the video on it, or I might be leaving the description the fantasy league. I can't remember if I can be bothered to do that. Probably. I'll put it in there. Of course, this is the official F1 Fantasy League that we have created a league for the channel. I think we're up to 19 entrants now. So Quite a few of you have partaked, and there will be a prize of a Cream in a Can t-shirt that design is pending for the winner at the end of the year. So yeah, you made changes for the first week this time?
I made some changes, yeah. One change.
What was your change?
I took out Leclerc and put in Hulkenberg.
Good call.
It was a good call for the
Was
time.
it?
I think so. Where did Leclerc finish?
Hulkenberg got 34 points. Well, you got 32 because of your turbo, sorry.
Was he my turbo?
He was your turbo.
I'm so glad I took Alonso off my turbo.
Yeah. What kind of idiot would do that?
I've no idea. Was it you?
Might have been me.
Could have been you.
I can't find anyone that picked Leclerc for this weekend.
I took him off.
Oh, there we go. 1 point.
Oh, well, that was an inspired choice.
It was. 1 point for Charles. Bad luck. I guess he crashed out, didn't he? Yeah. That was a good choice. So you are top papaya orange. Connor, you are P2 now. Good job, my friend.
Who's that?
Connor, papaya orange Formula 1 team.
Is he a fan?
They have to be to join the league.
Oh, really? I thought anyone can join.
Only with the league code.
Oh, well,
which is
fucking well done, son.
Only in the description of a couple of videos. So they are all 19 of these are subscribers.
Well, slap me up and call me Claire Williams.
Wait, no. No, I'm not starting some weird fantasy for you or somebody. Leslie Jasbrug from Holland is P3. He had a great week this week, 185 points.
Jesus.
It's one of the highest I've seen.
He's got lots of points.
It has. Now he's unsubscribed.
He may have just left. I'm so sorry, Ashberg, but you did very well.
You did.
Then it's you, fourth.
It is. And what do you think my tactics were this week if you take a look at the points tally of everybody in P4?
Absolutely nothing.
Yep, forgot again.
Forgot again, and so did everyone else who's also on 385.
We're sticking with this, okay?
It's a good team.
Team Dream Cream, okay? We're gonna do this. They're gonna make me make 3 t-shirts. For us 3. We'll come through.
So if I win this, do I win a t-shirt?
Yeah.
This is not fair. I don't want the t-shirt.
Well, me and Fox were talking about this. We think it's kind of ironic if you would win it. You were the one that made up Cream in a Can and kept going on about it. I think it's kind of ironic if we present you with a t-shirt.
Please try harder to win.
Well, you can always throw it, but I don't think that's fair.
I don't think that's.
I think I did say, to be fair, I do kind of want to give you a Cream in a Can t-shirt now, but I think we did say at the beginning that if it was you or me, it would be the next highest player.
I think that's only fair.
I think that's fair. Besides, you're not going to win, so
fine.
To be fair, you're doing really well. I'm just really worried about changing my team now. Like I'm now back up to 4th, and I
made a slight change, and it got me loads of points.
Did it?
So I think, mate,
you did get 176 this week. That's pretty.
Slight changes, mate.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think I probably will next week.
Minimal gains, mate.
Hopefully, I'll remember for Canada.
Marginal gains? Is that what the term is? Cycling marginal gains?
It's a term.
Marginal gain. We made some progress.
We did.
Carry on.
Cool.
As you were.
Yeah, Sawyer F and TKM Sport joint with me then. Fox has dropped down to 7th. Not the best week for him, 106. Was hurt quite badly by Sainz and Alonso, and went with Renault for his constructor. He said he finally understood how constructors worked this week, and then he went for Renault. And then MC Motorsport Max is in 8th. Armchair Pilot and Mirek F1. Got quite a spread of people now, to be fair. So yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying doing this fantasy. We're enjoying doing it, and as I've said, we'll keep mentioning it on the podcast to keep up to date with everybody. And we'll try and get a provisional design maybe of the t-shirt out soon. And then everybody will immediately unsubscribe from the channel when they don't want it. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Right, predictions for Canada in 2 weeks' time. Is it 2 weeks or is it a week? It's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Predictions.
Yeah. Do you want to go first, mate? I've gone first the last few ones.
I reckon Lewis will be back on form. So I'm going to go for Lewis. Then I'm going to go for Ferrari. So no, I'm not. I'm going to go Lewis, Bottas, Raikkonen.
Lewis, Bottas, Raikkonen.
Yes.
Locked in.
Locked.
Okay, I'm also going to go Lewis. And I'm going to go Vettel, Bottas.
Locked.
Yeah, I think Lewis, he's such a specialist around Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just
clinical.
He's just going to really enjoy being back out on that track after that week in Monaco that he's obviously hated for some reason. So yeah, I think we'll see. I think we'll see a closer race than we've seen with Lewis before. I think Vettel will be strong there, and I think he'll be better than Bottas.
I hope we have a good race, man. I just hope we have a real good one. We still haven't had that real fucking elbows out proper fight between them yet. Oh, it's coming. I can feel it in the air tonight.
It will be. Whether it will happen at Canada, we'll have to wait and see. And
I hope you join us afterwards. All you guys watching and listening, and because obviously you're not watching, you are listening. Join us afterwards because we've got some cracking content.
Yeah, I promise it won't be as much AIDS as this week has been.
It's not been that AIDS.
It's been one of the worst.
That's it.
You went on some weird paths in that one. I'll be honest with you.
The best paths sometimes are a little strange. A bit like what Claire Williams wears to bed on a Thursday.
Oh my god. Why has this don't become a thing? Okay.
Sorry.
This is weird.
Jake Dennis.
Jake fucking Dennis. Right, as always, thank you everybody for joining us. If you have your own views on Monaco as a track or the race we've just seen, then leave it down in the description. Maybe if you want to leave your predictions for Canada as well, you can do. If you want to go back and watch the rest of the podcast, they're obviously all available on the channel. And if you want to see some F1 on-track action, I think we'll both be taking part in another test race for the ORL F1 League on Thursday in F1 2017.
We will.
So join us then. But as always, thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you again next time.
Adios, amigos.